today I'm going to talk to you about holding your cellos and what your string names are. So when you set up your cellos, make sure that this bottom one is right, your bottom peg is right at your left hand ear. You won't want it too tall and you don't want it too short. You want to set it up just like that to make sure that it's in line. Then make sure it's at your left side when you're setting up. You might want to ask an adult to double check that it looks right on you, that you look just like this. You want this part right at your chest and right at my left hand ear. We're going to start strumming our cello. This is called pizzicato. And to do this on the cello, you want to take your thumb and put it right underneath this black part. And then you're going to use your finger just to strum up and down the strings, one at a time, your pointer finger, kind of like a backwards L. So go ahead and just practice doing that a few times, going up and down the strings, like I'm doing. The string names go from the thickest string to the thinnest string, or we'll go from the one closest to me to the one furthest out. So the first string, the closest one to you, is the C string. Go ahead and play the C string now. Then the next string is the G string. Then we have the D string. And then the A string. Now, we're going to start by using the D and the A string. These are the ones that we're going to use pretty much this whole year. These are the most common strings that we use on the cello. So go ahead and try that again. We have the C string, the G string, the D string, and the A string. Now go ahead and play the D string 4 times. So the third string out from you. 1, 2, 3. So D, 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 D. Good. Now try and play the A string 4 times. Here we go. A, 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 A. Good. Now practice going between the D and the A string. So D, A, D, A, D, A, D. We're using the 2 furthest strings out from us. Don't forget, those 2 strings are the ones that we're using, the D string and the A string, the ones furthest away from you. Try that again. D, A, D, A, D. Good. Now go ahead and go get your books. We're going to start playing our first songs. Song number 2. Let's play open D. Now, do you remember which string your D string was? Right, the 3rd string away from you. So count them. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 D. Okay, the next song, song 3, is exactly the same as song 2, except we're going to use the A string instead of the D string. So go ahead and move to the furthest string away from you, the highest sounding string on our cellos. Song number 3, 1, 2, here we go. A, 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 A. Good job. Now we're going to practice a song that has both the D string and the A string. So look at song number 4. First, you're going to play 3 Ds, then you have a rest, and then you have to go to the A string. So you have to move your finger between those 2 strings like we practiced. Here we go. Song number 4. 2's a team. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 A, 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 D, D, A, A, D, D, D. Now let's try that one more time, just to make sure that we're really good at going between the D and the A string. Here we go. Song number 4, 2's a team. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 A, 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 D, D, A, A, D, D, D. Good. Let's move on now to song number 5, At PIERROT'S Door. This one gets a little tricky going between the D and the A notes, so take a glance at it before we start. And then get your finger ready to start on D. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 A, D, sh, A, sh, D, D, A, D, A, D. Good job. Let's move on now to song number 6, Jumping Jacks. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 sh, A, sh, D, D, A, D, 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 sh. Now, notice at the end of that how there's a double bar line. That means the end of a song. Now, your first finger might be getting a little bit sore now from playing it because it's something we're not used to doing, right? But don't worry, you're gonna get what's called a callus on it, and then it won't hurt anymore. And you'll get that really soon if you practice every day. Let's move on to song number 7. This one's the hardest one yet because it goes a lot between the D and the A string, but I know you can do it. Here we go. Song 7, mix them up. 1, 2, here we go. D, A, D, sh, A, D, A, sh, D, A, D, A, D, 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 sh. Let's try that one more time. That's a really tricky one. Here we go. 7, mix them up. 1, 2, here we go. D, A, D, sh, A, D, A, sh, D, A, D, A, D, 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 sh. Now let's go to count carefully. This one's a little confusing because it has a lot of rests. So you have to make sure to really pay attention to how many quiet notes there are, how many rests we have. Also at the end, you notice that there's 2 dots. That's a repeat sign, and that means we go back to the beginning. So we're gonna do this 2 full times. Okay, get your first finger on the D string, count carefully, song 8. 1, 2, here we go. D, D, sh, sh, A, sh, sh, D, sh, A, sh, D, A, D. Back to the beginning. D, D, sh, sh, A, sh, sh, D, sh, A, sh, D, A, D. Good job! You can also watch the next video if you want to practice along with me playing the piano. Bye! See you next time!